people, no tech skills, no coding skills, yes, you can still cyber. My name is Bertha John and I welcome you to this journey. Today, I want to show you some of the key domains in cybersecurity. So when we talk about domain, let me just give an example. So let's say the healthcare industry, it is pretty big, right? We have it's super broad. You have people like doctors, you have nurses, you have home health aid, you have health analysts, you have health practitioners, you even have the insurance company. So you have a lot of areas within the healthcare space that you can actually work in, right? That is how domains in cybersecurity is, like the areas in cybersecurity that you can go into. Or let's talk about even HR. So human resource, we have recruiting, right? We have general HR, we have specializations in HR that you can actually divert into. That is the same thing for cybersecurity. That's why I keep saying that no matter the space or no matter the skill set you have, you can still cyber. Let me just give an in-depth about the domains that I am going to talk to you about. Today, I'll talk to you about some of the 3 key domains. There's average salary, some of the day-to-day activities they do, and some of the key jobs that you can look out for as an entry-level person. Please stay glued and let's cyber. So, one of the common domains in cybersecurity, we're going to talk about GRC, that is governance, risks, and compliance. We will talk about the red team and then the blue team. So, when we talk about GRC, governance, risks, and compliance, what do they do? So, what they do is that they actually help organization maintain some specific standards or framework. So, for cybersecurity, there are some bodies or standards. We have ISO 27001, we have NIST publication. So they give guidelines and processes and procedures how you can probably audit an information systems or categorize an information system based on the information that it collects, right? So all GRC people, your goal in your job is to make sure that the day-to-day compliance is checked off. Actually, what other thing you can do is that during your day you do something like risk assessment, security audit, you draft policies, you ensure that. So let's say if you hire in an organization that has to comply with, let me talk to you about some of the standards that has to comply with, let's say HIPAA or SOX 404. HIPAA is for healthcare, SOX 404 is actually for companies that trade publicly, right? We have other standards like ISO 27001, we have PCI DSS. So if you are hired in a company that is supposed to adhere to these standards, as a GRC person, you can be hired as a security auditor to audit whether they are adhering to the standard created by the PCI DSS body. So you are doing reviews of documentation. Your active day-to-day job will be like interviews, doing walkthroughs, drafting your findings and your final report. So you work with teams like probably the network team, IT team. So those are the people that will show you, can you show me your Active Directory? You check through that to see whether how their onboarding and offboarding process is like, right? And a role like risk assessment. So you are assessing the level of risk that the organization has, and then you manage the risk. So based off on your findings, you get to know whether this is a high risk, a medium, or low. And so for the standard gives you, let's say, if it's a high risk, how you should mitigate it, and what are some of the controls you implement. So what is the control that I keep talking about? It's just a safeguard. So it's a solution. Let me bring it to your level. If it's a control, it's like a solution. So let's say you bought a home, you have a door, you don't have a key. Your control is, your solution is to get a key. So the key is have to lock your door so that robbers will not rob your house, right? So that is just a control. So your goal as a GRC person will be to test these controls. If they say that, oh, every year we train all our users to be aware of the phishing attack, you are checking if the control that they said they've implemented is actually implemented and is effective. And then you write your findings. If you are hired as just an internal audit, you make your recommendation and you make sure that the organization adheres to it. You can be a third-party analyst. So every organization onboard vendors. So like vendors, like they use tools, they use other systems and all that. Your goal as a third-party person will just be to vet these vendors. So you work through with business owners to review some questionnaires. So questions like the system, or does the vendor, is the vendor going to store our PII? So in cybersecurity, PII is personal identifiable information, right? It's like your social security number, your date of birth. Those are sensitive information. And in cybersecurity or in information security, if a system is storing such data, it is triggered as a high system. So there should be controls that can safeguard the system such that when an attacker is intruding into the system, they won't be able to get access to that data. So you work hand in hand with the business owners, you work hand in hand with network team, you work hand in hand with your bosses like the chief information security audit officer. Those are some of the day-to-day jobs you do and some of the roles. So the average salary for a GRC person ranges from 85,000 to like 140. So that is about GRC. It depends on the state sometimes too, but I will tell you, once you take a GRC training, you should be ready to go. You get your certification, you can do Security Plus. Personally, I am a fan of certification, but don't kill yourself if you're not getting it. Start applying for the job and make sure that during your interview you can relate the skills to make hiring managers know that we are a good fit. Now let's move to the red team. Red team actually are the offensive aspect, so they do more of the offensive. What the red teams do is that they perform penetration testing. They ethically hack. I love cyber, so they have some bougie words, right? Ethical hacking. How can hacking be ethical? So they ethically hack into the system to identify some vulnerability. So if I say a vulnerability in cyber is actually like a weakness, you are vulnerable, like we all know, I'm vulnerable. So like a weakness within the system, and then they make recommendations. So they run something like phishing, social engineering test to see how likely users can fall for, or let me back it up. So they penetrate into the system to see how weak your network is, and then they come up with recommendations and mitigations plan. So those are the red teams. So you can get jobs like pen testers, ethical hackers, you name them. Average salary also ranges within 85 to 140 thereabout, depending on the state. You cannot tell me that I should take a job in pen test in California for 70,000 or 80,000. The rent alone will swallow the money, or in Massachusetts. So when you're applying for this job, you look at the state. Those are some of the jobs. And then for ethical hackers, you need to have a little background with networking. You need to have a little background with some of the Windows systems and all that. So with that one, you need to understand how an attacker think, or an attacker penetrates into a system. You need to have the critical thinking mindset. That is some of the requirements of ethical hacker or the red teamers. And we also have the blue team. Color blue, you love color blue, right? So blue team are also the defenders. So the red team are the offensive side, that is the attackers, and the blue team are the defenders. So they kind of defend the organizations against cyber attacks. So during their day-to-day activities, some of the things that they do is that they use tons of tools. They use EDR to like endpoint detection and response to. They have some tools like Microsoft Defender. I know like Carbon Black as well. And so those are some of the EDR tools. They use SIM tools. You all know about Splunk, right? So Splunk is a SIM tool. There's a SIM tool also called Active Wolf. So they monitor these, and they use ticketing tools like ServiceNow, Jira. They monitor these alerts. So when there's an alert, they go into the console or the system to investigate. Hey, I got an alert that said that a user has gotten an unauthorized user has gotten access into our system. So they investigate to see if it's a false positive, or is it true negative or true positive. So all they are doing is that they are investigating to see if this is a real attack or a real incident that requires investigations. So in the SOC, they have titles like security operations like analyst. They have titles like threat intelligence. They have titles like incident response. So if you're an entry level person, You can start as a SOC analyst. You have tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. So as a tier 1 analyst, your goal is to do a hands-on glass. So hands-on glass technically means 24/7 you are monitoring the dashboard, and when an alert is fired, you go into the system to review whether it is suspicious or it's not malicious. You forward it to the tier 2 who does an in-depth investigation to probably close it or forward it to tier 3. So tier 3, they kind of design the playbooks on how you guys should handle attacks. That is how it works. I mentioned the job description, I mentioned the day-to-day activity. The salary is also around the same range. So if you want to branch into SOC, you need to still have a networking mindset, the basic fundamentals of cybersecurity, a little bit of Linux. You need to understand how cybersecurity systems communicate with each other. I didn't talk about GRC. So GRC, you need to understand some of the common frameworks and how to perform information security audit, how to perform a risk assessment, and you need to understand this framework and how you can apply them to help the company. The other key thing that you need to thrive as a cybersecurity person is to be someone who's ready to learn constantly, because hey, the policies keep changing, the systems keep updating, there are a lot of frameworks out there, there are a lot of attacks that are coming on board, like a zero-day attack. So when there's a zero-day attack that nobody has had knowledge of, nobody knows how to resolve it, it's your goal to go deep dive, read, do your research. So if you're a cybersecurity person or you're looking forward to branch into, you need to be ready to read more, learn, because the space is evolving. Now, these are all the roles and these are the key domains in cyber. There are tons. We have even purple team. We have people who are actually, their goal is to do like security awareness training, or you can actually be training people in cybersecurity and be making more money. The cyberspace is evolving. I am telling you, I encourage you, if you want to cyber, filter the noises. Somebody say you need to do X, Y, Z. Go already. There are a lot of ways that you can actually do cyber. I actually, for one, do free cybersecurity training that you can actually leverage on. I would encourage you to take it. The other exciting thing is, if you want to cyber, and the most important, most companies, when they hire you, they have educational package where you can go to school. So why don't you use that rather than going to take a loan and then you pay later? Leverage on the opportunity when you get the job. But what I would encourage you is to take advantage of these free trainings like what I have, especially if you're an African immigrant. I got you. My team and I have been through it. We understand what it takes. The good thing that I have for you is, maybe you are like, what is GRC again? I'm not sure which one I want to go into. I have designed a scenario-based question. Hey, it's not technical, it's just a behavioral question, just to test your skills, your thinking skill, which area will be a best fit. Why don't you just take this test, and then a team member of mine will reach out to you to discuss further. It is free, so you can take it for free. My name is Bertha. Let me tell you this, regardless of your background, the cyberspace is evolving. It is transferable. The skill set is transferable. Maybe you have HR skills. You can actually go into the field where all you do is cybersecurity training. You talk to the users, you educate them. There are big things you can do in cyber. So don't let someone tell you you only need a coding skills or it's very hard. I am cyber, so you can cyber. Thank you so much, and I welcome you on board. Don't skip this video. Share it with someone. My name is Bertha. Welcome on board, and let's cyber.